The last several years of hype and speculation are finally about to be answered, with the Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. Now is the perfect time to speculate before all is revealed, so here are 13 hopes and predictions for Switch 2. Starting off with general info about the console itself and stuff likely revealed in the Direct, I think that the release date will be sometime in early June. The live experiences end after May, and they're going to be a huge center of hype for the console. Leading into its release soon after makes a lot of sense, and early June is the beginning of summer. Seeing as Switch 2 is so similar to the Switch, a pretty decent power increase is necessary. This, of course, means that a huge selling point will be the ability to upgrade games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which could seriously use better graphics. The games look great considering the hardware they're running on, but the potential is through the roof. However, I unfortunately don't see Nintendo giving out free updates, since as great as it would be, there's no real incentive to on their part. I instead think that you will be able to pay $10 to upgrade your Switch games to 4K 60 FPS, or of course just buy a Switch 2 copy if you didn't own the original game. I also think that third-party games will be a huge focus for the console to attract a new market. While they won't look as good, being able to play Elden Ring or Red Dead 2 on the go would be incredibly enticing and give Nintendo a real chance at competing against Sony and Microsoft. The best case scenario launch lineup that makes sense to me is Metroid Prime 4 and Mario Kart 9. For Metroid, it works very well as a console show-off game, with the heavily rumored mass mechanic fitting perfectly and the beautiful graphics. It was also just shown off again in a Switch 1 Direct, meaning it is certainly cross-platform, so it would essentially be the Breath of the Wild hybrid of Switch 2. But Metroid by itself is absolutely not enough to sell a new console. That's where Mario Kart comes in. 8 Deluxe is the best-selling Switch game and is a wonderful incentive to get families to buy this new console for their kids. This covers both hardcore gamers as well as casuals, especially when factoring in third-party games and $10 upgrades. The launch lineup is pretty likely to be stacked. However, Mario Kart 9's success is facing a huge issue, that being backwards compatibility. Why buy this new Mario Kart game when you already have a game with 96 tracks? There will need to be something different and special about this game to entice people to buy it. I propose Mario Kart Wonder. Putting Wonder effects into the next game would spice up the series and make the game feel very unique, giving people a good reason to buy it. It would also make every track feel actually different as opposed to just backdrops, especially if set effects involve the environment. Something the Switch UI and home screen lacked and that the Wii U and Wii excelled at was personality. The Switch has no home screen theme, interesting backgrounds, folders, or just overall charm. I believe the reason they took this approach is because they were very scared of another flop like the Wii U, and as such they tried to make it as different as possible. However, now that they are clearly more confident in their future consoles, maybe we'll see a more interesting home screen on Switch 2. It's not a huge deal, but it made the Wii U feel much more fun, and it gives me nostalgia to this day. Whilst I don't expect them to return to something like that, I do think we could hopefully see some music and maybe some more background themes, perhaps based off certain games we own or even from our camera album. In a similar vein, Miiverse was another part of the Wii U's charm that was missing from the Switch. I don't see Miiverse ever returning, but I do think it's very possible that we see more social features implemented in the Switch 2. There is a patent for a voice chat system and rumors of the Kinect software. Perhaps the mysterious C button really does mean Kinect. While the next Zelda game is likely still a few years away, a remake on Switch 2 is certainly possible and fairly likely, as it will draw in another significant portion of Nintendo's audience. I think that there's actually a pretty decent chance we might see the fated Wind Waker plus Twilight Princess port finally happened. Them waiting for Switch 2 explains why they never tapped into this gold mine. Twilight in particular would seriously benefit from Switch 2 graphics. Personally, I'd love to see a full-scale remake of Ocarina of Time, and I think it would do wonders for the console, but I think the former option is probably more likely. Rapid fire section for a few games I'd like to see but don't have much to say about them. It's been a decent bit since Splatoon 3 shut down and the series is still massively popular. I could see a Splatoon 4 happening early on in the console's life cycle, and the mouse feature would certainly be a grade to the series. Why don't play Pokemon? I know Legends EA is releasing later this year, which is good because it encourages Pokemon fans as well to buy Switch 2 early on. Luigi's Mansion 3 was already beautiful, and a fourth entry would look absolutely stellar on Switch 2. Another great way to advertise the console's power, and they could do it right before Halloween. Finally, the next 3D Mario game will be the holiday game of 2025, propelling the Switch 2 sales. I think that the game will be open world like some say, but not as in you can go through sprawling fields and stuff like Breath of the Wild, but more like Bowser's Fury, where you could do any level at once. Said game being a test for an open world 3D Mario makes a lot of sense, and I think it would be a wonderful next entry. Those are my thoughts and predictions for year 1 of Switch 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in a new era of Nintendo.